Welcome everybody to my video, my 3 dumbest mistakes I've made in Ecom, so you don't have to repeat them. I really want people, especially just starting out, to see this video, to not make the same mistakes as me, so you don't lose hundreds and even worse, thousands, or even worse than that, tens of thousands of dollars on e-commerce when you're just starting out. So these are gonna be 3 of the dumbest mistakes I made, in particular at the beginning stages of e-commerce when I was just starting out. So first one, we're gonna be looking at number 3. I wanted to get this one out the way. This is the dumbest one, is not having my region set up. So you guys can flame me in the comments for this. I know this is one of the stupidest mistakes that somebody can make on Shopify with e-commerce. But when I first made one of my early stores, I did not have my region set up. It was kind of like this store that set up pretty like fast and put minimal effort into like the initial like setup of the store. This is things gurus and stuff do not tell you. But when you just starting out, when you see these gurus talk about, make a Shopify store and you sell, list this up, make a website, use Atlas AI store builder, and you just get to going, they don't ever tell you about things like this. You gotta have things set up on the back end and all this stuff, a lot of stuff on the back end to be able to have it set up in a way that people can come to your store, put their payment information, and it actually work. And it gets a little more complicated when it's outside of the US. So I didn't have my region set up. I remember I was testing a product and I had a bunch of traffic from another country, and I looked at my store. I was having all these add to carts, people checking out, and I wasn't getting any sales. I was so confused. Long story short, my regions were not set up in a way that people could buy from this country. So all these people were just adding the cart and checking out and then getting the checkout, and they weren't able to put their country at checkout to be able to complete the payment process and put their information and all that. And so I got no sales, and I ran a campaign the next day and no sales. So I missed out on that, and I never kind of realized what would have happened if I had my region set up, because I moved on to testing another product. But regions, and this is kind of just to the bigger point of having all that stuff on the back end set up, whether it be regions, your inventory, all that stuff set up on the back end and in the back, payment, settings, all of that. Set up your Shopify on the back end to be able to have this run smoothly. People do not tell you that, but you really need to, or else people are going to come to your store and not be able to buy. And if they do buy, there might be issues. So regions for me personally. Moving on to number 1, we got using old creatives. So this is another one. People don't really get this at the beginning of drop shipping. Using creatives that, are a week old, 2 weeks old, longer, especially when people are using these ads, ripping them from Calo data. Like, these ads can get stale very fast, but you can rip them initially, but people kind of use these for weeks on end and they get very stale, and Meta and TikTok do not like that. So that was one of the things that you had to learn. I had to learn the hard way, again, wasting money, not knowing, but you gotta make fresh creatives. I talked about this in another video. You gotta keep it fresh with the creatives, because Meta and TikTok hate stale old creatives. So this is a non-negotiable. You cannot keep recycling old creatives. You gotta change them somehow, whether it's music, whether it's script, whether it's cut it up, make it sound different. It has to have a different kind of like file code or whatever it is. Somebody can correct me in the comments. There's a word for it, but it has to kind of have that different thing that Meta will identify it as a completely new script and even or video, and even then it's not going to be 100% foolproof. But point is, keep it fresh, keep it new, because old creatives are hated by Meta and TikTok ads. Mistake number 2, the pixel. Again, this is another one gurus and people of the sort do not talk about. Again, people talk about create a Shopify store, getting a winning product, make a bunch of money, right? You need to have an optimized pixel. So I know for TikTok, it's probably a little bit simpler. I think TikTok kind of like works it into your account in an easier fashion. That's more like automatic. I haven't done it in a while. I think it was easier than Meta though. Meta, you have to kind of be more deliberate with it in setting up your pixel, because Meta doesn't really just put it on a platter to you and introduce to you that pixel. You have to go set it up, and be accountable for all of your because you have like different business accounts and business portfolios and all that, and have that connected correctly to your Shopify store. And you have to go in your settings and do all that on the Facebook and Instagram settings on your Shopify, and have it matching to the right business portfolio, to your right store and all this. You have to do all of that, and you have to have that set up, because if you don't, then you are just selling to complete random people. You have no idea who you're selling to. Meta has no idea who your customer base is. But with an optimized pixel, the pixel will learn who's buying, who's adding to cart, who's clicking, etc., and it'll be able to learn. If you don't have a working pixel, you're just running wild, and you can get some sales. Long term, it's not gonna work. You can't scale like that long term. So that was a big mistake I made, running on a non-optimized pixel for about a little over probably a week, but you need to have an optimized pixel. That's possibly one of the biggest ones on here. Again, don't lose your money, optimize your pixel, stop using old creatives, and fix your region. You probably have it already good with the regions, but everything on the back end, if your region is good, you got that set up. Fix the stuff on the back end. But again, fix these things if you don't have them fixed already. You do not want to lose hundreds, $500, $1,000, especially when you're starting a business, you're young, stuff like that. You don't want to screw yourself over. So these are my 3 dumbest mistakes I made.